Space was quiet, too quiet. Outside the International Space Station, there was no sound, no air, and no mercy. Earth was shining below like a blue light, spinning fast in the darkness. Above it, a metal station moved around the planet at a very high speed. Inside that station, something was wrong. An alarm light turned on. Inside the control room of NASA, people stopped talking. Screens changed color. Numbers moved fast. One engineer stood up and said in a low voice, "We have a problem outside the station." Far above Earth, inside the ISS, an astronaut heard the same warning sound. It was short, sharp, and dangerous. He looked at the panel in front of him. The message was clear. A critical repair is needed now. The astronaut took a deep breath. He knew what this meant. Someone had to go outside the station. Someone had to do a spacewalk. A spacewalk is not a normal job. It is one of the most dangerous things a human can do. Outside the station, there is no oxygen, no air, no sound. One small mistake can mean death. The astronaut looked at his gloves. He looked at the airlock door. Behind that door was space itself. On Earth, NASA Mission Control made the call. Their voice traveled thousands of kilometers through space. "We need you to prepare for EVA," they said. EVA means extravehicular activity. It means leaving the safety of the station and stepping into open space. Astronaut did not answer right away. He closed his eyes for a second. He thought about his family on Earth. He thought about training, years of training, thousands of hours, all for this moment. He opened his eyes and spoke calmly. "I understand, I am ready." The desperate call was answered. Slowly the astronaut began to prepare. He moved carefully. In space, every movement matters. He put on the spacesuit piece by piece. This suit was not just clothing, it was his lifeboat. His only protection. The suit would give him oxygen, it would control pressure. It would keep his body alive in extreme cold and heat. Without it, he would survive only seconds. NASA checked every detail: oxygen levels, battery power, communication lines, cameras. Nothing could be missed. Outside, the station kept moving. Earth below looked peaceful. No one on the ground could feel the danger happening above their heads. Inside the airlock, the astronaut floated. The door behind him closed. The small room became silent. Air slowly left the chamber. Pressure dropped. This was the point of no return. Mission Control spoke again. "Oxygen stable, suit pressure normal. You are clear to open the hatch." The astronaut reached for the handle. His heart was beating fast, but his hands were steady. Training controlled fear. He turned the handle. The hatch opened. Darkness appeared first, then light. Then the endless black of space. Astronaut slowly pushed himself outside. There was no sound, no wind, only silence. Earth was right there below his feet, big, beautiful, fragile. He was now officially outside the station. One cable connected him to safety, one rope between life and death. Mission Control watched closely. Every movement was seen, every breath was counted. Then something unexpected happened. A warning light flashed inside his helmet. The astronaut froze. Mission Control spoke quickly. "We see a small pressure change. Check your suit." The astronaut looked at his arm. Nothing seemed wrong, but in space, danger is often invisible. His breathing became louder in his helmet. He checked the numbers on his wrist display. Oxygen was fine. Pressure was still okay, but the warning did not disappear. Down on Earth, NASA engineers worked fast. Time was moving. The station was flying around the planet at 28,000 kilometers per hour. There was no pause button. Mission Control spoke again, more serious now. "Stay calm, do not move fast, we are checking the data." The astronaut stayed still, floating above Earth with space all around him. One question filled his mind: is my suit failing? If the suit failed, there would be no rescue, no second chance. The silence felt heavier now. Mission Control finally spoke. "We may need you to continue. The repair is critical." The astronaut looked at the damaged area of the station in the distance. Sparks of sunlight reflected off metal panels. That broken part could put the entire station in danger. He understood the risk. He answered with a steady voice, "I will continue." The desperate call was no longer just a warning, it was a test of courage, and the real danger was only beginning. The astronaut did not move. He stayed still, floating between the space station and the endless black around him. Below, Earth moved fast, like a silent river of light and shadow. Above him, space looked empty, but it was full of danger. Mission Control was quiet for a moment. Silence in space is normal, silence from Earth is not. Inside his helmet, the astronaut could hear only his own breathing, slow, controlled. Each breath reminded him that the suit was still working, that his life depended on thin layers of metal, fabric, and air. "Data is coming in," a voice finally said from NASA. "Your suit is stable for now." For now, those two words stayed in his mind. The astronaut slowly moved his hand toward the safety cable. He checked the lock again. One strong pull it held. That cable was the only thing stopping him from drifting away forever. In space, there is no ground, no up, no down, only motion. He pushed himself gently toward the damaged area of the station. Every movement was slow and careful. Fast actions could send him spinning. Spinning could mean death. The broken panel was now closer. Sunlight hit the metal and blinded him for a second. Then the station moved into shadow. The temperature dropped fast. In space, heat and cold change in seconds. Mission Control spoke again. "You are entering the work zone, take it slow." The astronaut reached the area. He saw the problem clearly now. A small part looked loose. It did not look dangerous, but in space, small problems become big disasters. That part controlled power flow. If it failed, the station could lose electricity. No power meant no life support. He reached for his tool bag, then something went wrong. His glove felt stiff, very stiff. He tried to bend his fingers. They moved, but not easily. The cold had started to affect the suit. "Mission Control," he said calmly, "my glove is getting hard." On Earth, engineers looked at the screen. They saw the temperature drop. The shadow was colder than expected. "Copy that," Mission Control replied. "We see it. Keep your hand close to your body when possible." The astronaut pulled his hand in. He waited. He watched Earth move below him. Cities appeared like small lights. Millions of people living normal lives, not knowing how close this moment was to disaster. He pushed the fear away. Fear wastes oxygen. He moved his hand again, slowly, carefully. This time, the glove responded better. He grabbed the panel. At that exact moment, the station moved back into sunlight. Heat rushed in, too much heat. The temperature change shocked the suit system. Inside the helmet, another warning light blinked. Not the same one as before, a new one. His heart beat faster, but his voice stayed calm. "Mission Control, I have a new alert." Engineers froze. They checked the code. It was a cooling system warning. If the cooling failed, his body could overheat inside the suit. Sweat could build up, vision could blur, confusion could follow, and confusion in space is deadly. "Stay with us," Mission Control said. "We are checking options." The astronaut stayed still again, hanging between Earth and death, one hand on the station, one hand holding nothing but air. Time felt slow. Seconds felt like minutes. Finally, Mission Control spoke. "We need you to finish the repair quickly, then return quickly." That word did not exist in space. But the astronaut understood. He adjusted his position, locked his boots. He used the last of his focus. The panel moved back into place. He secured it with steady hands, one turn, then another. The warning light stopped blinking. The system was stable again. Mission Control breathed again. "Good work," they said. "Prepare to return." The astronaut did not relax yet. In space, danger does not end when the job is done. He slowly pushed away from the work area. He followed the cable back, hand over hand, movement by movement. Earth was still there, beautiful, silent. The station grew closer. Just as he reached the airlock, something unexpected happened. His boot slipped. For half a second, his body moved away from the station. The cable pulled tight, hard. His body stopped, floating again, alive. He closed his eyes for one moment, then he spoke. "I am secure, continuing return." Mission Control answered softly. "We see you. Bring it home." The astronaut reached the airlock handle. The hardest part was not the repair, it was surviving the space between, and the mission was not over yet. The astronaut was safe again, at least that is what it looked like. His body was connected to the station, the airlock was close. Mission Control was talking, everything felt normal. But in space, danger does not always come from outside. Sometimes it comes from inside the helmet. Astronaut noticed something strange. His breathing sounded louder than before, not faster, just louder. Each breath echoed in his ears. He checked the display on his wrist. Oxygen level normal, suit pressure normal, but something did not feel right. On Earth, engineers at NASA watched the data closely. Numbers looked fine, but numbers do not show feelings, they do not show fear, they do not show confusion. "Mission Control," the astronaut said slowly, "I feel dizzy." The word dizzy changed everything. Inside a spacesuit, dizziness is dangerous, very dangerous. It can mean low oxygen, it can mean heat stress, it can mean panic or worse. "Copy," Mission Control replied. "Focus on your breathing, slow and deep." The astronaut tried, in through the nose, out through the mouth, just like training, just like practice. But the helmet felt smaller now, closer, tighter. The walls of the suit did not move. But his mind told him they were closing in. This was not a machine problem. This was a human problem. In space, the brain reacts differently. No gravity, no ground, no normal sense of direction. The body floats, but the mind still wants stability. The astronaut closed his eyes for a second. That was a mistake. Without sight, space becomes endless. Direction disappears. The brain loses control. His heart rate jumped. Mission Control saw it instantly. "Open your eyes," they said firmly. "Look at the station. Focus on one point." The astronaut opened his eyes and stared at a small mark on the metal wall, a scratch, a tiny line, something real. Slowly, the spinning feeling reduced, but another problem appeared: sweat. Inside the suit, sweat has nowhere to go. It floats, it sticks, it blocks vision, it can enter the eyes. The astronaut felt a drop move across his forehead. Then another. His vision blurred for a moment. "Mission Control," he said, still calm, "I have sweat in my helmet." Silence again. Engineers knew the situation. It had happened before in history. Water inside a helmet is not just uncomfortable, it can be deadly. Water can block the nose, water can block the mouth, water can cause panic. "Stay calm," Mission Control said. "Do not shake your head." The astronaut stayed still. The water moved slowly like a living thing. It touched his eyebrow, then his eye. His vision blurred more. He wanted to wipe it away. He could not. His hands were inside the suit. The helmet was sealed. This was the most helpless moment of the mission. He controlled his breathing again. Panic would only make it worse. Panic would increase sweat. Panic would steal oxygen. He tilted his head slightly, just enough. The water moved away from his eye. It worked. Mission Control released a slow breath. "You are doing good," they said. "Very good." The astronaut reached the airlock door. His hand touched the handle. Home was one movement away, but space was not finished testing him. A final warning beep sounded, short, sharp, low oxygen flow detected. Mission Control reacted instantly. "Open the airlock now." The astronaut did not hesitate. He turned the handle. The hatch opened. He pulled himself inside. The door closed behind him. Air rushed back in. Pressure returned. Gravity slowly came back. He removed his helmet. Air touched his face. He was alive. Mission Control cheered quietly, not loud, not emotional, just relief. But the astronaut did not smile yet. He looked at the helmet. Inside, a small amount of water floated near the glass. If it had moved differently, if he had panicked, this mission would have ended very differently. The enemy was not space. The enemy was not metal. The enemy was the human limit. And the next mission would push that limit even further. The astronaut sat quietly inside the station. The spacewalk was over, but the mission was not finished. Outside, danger had ended, yet a new problem had started inside his body. He tried to move his fingers. They did not respond well. His hands felt heavy, weak. Pain slowly moved through his fingers and wrists. This was not fear. This was physical damage. During spacewalks, the suit fights space, but the body pays the price. Inside the station, small gravity returned, but not enough to help his muscles. His hands had worked hard against stiff gloves for hours. The pressure inside the suit had pushed against his fingers again and again. Pain was the result. On Earth, doctors at NASA watched live medical data. Heart rate was normal, oxygen was normal, but muscle stress was high. "Can you make a fist?" Mission Control asked. The astronaut tried. Only half his fingers moved. He stayed calm, but he understood the risk. If his hands failed completely, future spacewalks could be impossible, and the station still needed more work. "This happens," Mission Control said. "Rest, slow movement only. Rest in space is different." The astronaut floated to the wall and gently locked his feet. He closed his eyes for a moment. Pain moved like a quiet fire under his skin, but space does not wait. An alert appeared on the main screen, solar activity increasing. Outside the station, the sun was changing. Invisible waves of radiation were moving fast through space. The station was protected. Astronauts outside were not. Mission Control reacted fast. "We may need another spacewalk," they said. Soon, the astronaut opened his eyes. His hands were not ready. His body was not ready, but the station needed help. A damaged sensor had stopped working. Without it, the station could not control power correctly during solar activity. If power failed, life support systems would be at risk. Time was now the enemy. The astronaut slowly flexed his fingers again. Pain shot through his hands. He did not scream. He did not complain. He asked one simple question. "How long do we have?" "Less than 12 hours, Mission Control replied. 12 hours to recover, 12 hours to prepare, 12 hours before space became more dangerous." Doctors suggested delay. Engineers suggested action. Every decision mattered. Finally, the call was made. The astronaut would go again. He prepared slowly, carefully. Every movement was controlled. Pain was still there, but it was managed. Training helped. Focus helped. The suit was checked again. Gloves adjusted. Pressure balanced. As the airlock closed, the astronaut looked at his hands one last time. They were human hands, not machines, not perfect. The hatch opened. Space welcomed him again. Outside, the sun looked brighter now, sharper, more powerful. Radiation could not be seen, but it could be felt by instruments. Mission Control guided him step by step. "Move slow, use the left hand less, save strength." The astronaut reached the sensor area. It was smaller than expected, hard to reach, harder to fix. He reached out. Pain returned instantly. His grip weakened. The tool almost slipped. Almost. He locked his arm against the station. Used his body, not just his hands, changed position, adapted. Humans survive by adapting. The sensor moved back into place. One final push, click, the system responded. Power levels stabilized. Mission Control smiled. "Good work," they said. The astronaut did not answer right away. He waited. He checked his hands. They were shaking, not from fear, from exhaustion. He slowly returned to the airlock. Each movement felt longer than before. He did not rush. Rushing causes mistakes. The hatch closed. The spacewalk ended. Inside the station, the astronaut removed his gloves. Red marks covered his hands, swollen fingers, real pain, but the station was safe. Outside, the sun continued its storm. Inside, a human had won not by strength, but by control. Yet the mission log showed one final note: more repairs required. And the most dangerous one was still ahead. The astronaut was back inside the station. His hands were still sore, his body was tired, but space does not care about pain or rest. Space follows its own rules. On Earth, scientists at NASA stared at a new set of data. The numbers were rising fast, faster than expected. Radiation levels were increasing. A solar storm was moving toward Earth and the station. It could not be seen with eyes, it had no sound. But it was powerful enough to damage machines and harm human cells. Inside the station, an alert appeared. Solar storm warning. The astronaut looked at the screen. He knew what this meant. During strong solar storms, astronauts must move to protected areas. The station has shields, but some systems outside remain exposed. One system was critical, an external communication antenna. If it failed, the station could lose contact with Earth. Mission Control spoke clearly. We need the antenna secured before the storm hits. The astronaut did not answer quickly this time. He looked at the clock. 2 hours, that was all the time left. Another spacewalk was possible, but it was dangerous. Radiation exposure outside the station would be higher, much higher. Doctors warned against it. Engineers warned against waiting. Finally, the decision was made. The astronaut would not go outside. Instead, he would control a robotic arm from inside the station. This was safer, but not simple. The robotic arm moved slowly, very slowly. From inside, the astronaut watched through cameras. The view was flat, no depth, no real sense of distance. Outside, the antenna floated silently. Inside, the astronaut's fingers moved gently over the controls. Every small movement mattered. One wrong command could break the arm or the antenna. The solar storm was getting closer. Radiation sensors started to rise. Mission Control counted time. 30 minutes, they said. The astronaut focused. He blocked out pain, he blocked out fear. His world became only the screen in front of him. The robotic arm reached the antenna. The grip closed, too tight. A warning light flashed. Ease pressure, Mission Control said. The astronaut adjusted. The warning stopped. Good. Slowly, the antenna moved into its safe position, but space had one more test. The signal froze. The camera feed stopped. The screen went black. The robotic arm was still moving, blind. Inside the station, the astronaut froze. Moving without vision could destroy everything. Mission Control worked fast. We lost video. Stand by. Seconds passed. Radiation levels increased again. The astronaut waited. Waiting is one of the hardest things in space. Finally, the video returned. The arm was close, very close. One wrong move left. Finish. Mission Control said. The astronaut moved the control gently. Click. The antenna locked into place. The system confirmed it. Secured. Mission Control allowed themselves a breath. Storm protocol active. Move to safe zone. The astronaut floated to the protected area of the station. Thick walls, extra shielding, less exposure. Outside, the solar storm hit. Invisible waves of energy passed over the station. Instruments reacted. Systems adjusted. The station survived. Inside, the astronaut waited in silence. Minutes passed, then hours. Finally, the alert ended. Radiation levels dropped. The storm moved away. Mission Control spoke with relief. The station is safe. The astronaut leaned back. His body felt heavy again. Exhaustion reached him fully now. This time, space did not test his courage. It tested his patience, and patience had won. But one final message appeared on the screen. External inspection required. Damage might still exist. The storm was gone, but what it left behind, the station was quiet again. Too quiet. After the solar storm passed, everything looked normal. Lights were on, power was stable, communication was clear. From the inside, the station felt safe, but space never leaves without a trace. On Earth, engineers at NASA studied fresh images from the station's outer cameras. At first glance, nothing looked wrong. Then someone zoomed in. A small dark mark appeared on the screen. Not big. Not broken, but not normal. Possible surface damage, an engineer said. Inside the station, the astronaut heard the update. He floated closer to the window and looked outside. With human eyes, everything looked fine. The station shined in sunlight like always, but cameras do not lie. The dark mark was near a cooling line. That line controlled temperature for important systems. If it failed, parts of the station could overheat. Mission Control spoke carefully. We need a closer look. The astronaut already knew what that meant. Another inspection, another risk. This time the danger was different. The storm was gone, but it may have sent tiny particles moving at extreme speed. Even a paint-sized object can act like a bullet in space. One hit can weaken metal, one weak spot can grow into a crack. Robotic cameras moved closer. The image became clearer. The mark was a small dent, micrometeoroid impact. Something from space had hit the station during the storm. It was rare, but it happens. Mission Control stayed calm. We need to know if the line is safe. The astronaut prepared inspection tools, not a full spacewalk, just a short external look using a handheld camera through a small hatch. Less exposure, less time, still dangerous. He locked his feet inside the hatch area. The small window opened. Cold darkness appeared again. He extended the camera slowly. The screen showed the damage clearly now. The metal was bent, not broken, yet engineers discussed fast stress models, heat flow, risk levels. Time passed. The astronaut waited. Waiting in space always feels longer. Finally, the answer came. The line is safe for now, Mission Control said, but it must be watched. The astronaut pulled the camera back, the hatch closed, the station sealed itself again. No dramatic spacewalk, no alarms, no heroic moment. Just a quiet truth: space does not always attack loudly, sometimes it taps softly. That is more dangerous. The astronaut logged the inspection. He floated back toward the main module. His body felt heavy, his mind felt heavier. He looked at Earth through the window, so far away, so peaceful. People below would never know how close damage came to growing into disaster. Mission Control sent a final message: "Good work, get some rest." The astronaut closed his eyes, but rest did not come easily. He knew this mission was nearing its end, but he also knew something else. Every spacewalk leaves a cost, every storm leaves a mark, every mission leaves questions, and the final test was still waiting, not outside the station, but during the return. The mission was almost complete. Outside the station, everything was quiet, no alarms, no storms, no damage warnings. From Mission Control at NASA, the message was clear: prepare for return procedures. For most people, return sounds easy, but for an astronaut, returning is one of the hardest parts. The astronaut had lived without gravity for weeks. His body had changed, muscles had weakened, balance had disappeared, his heart had learned a new way to work. Now gravity was waiting. Inside the station, he began final checks: equipment secured, logs completed, personal items packed. Every step was slow and careful. His hands still remembered the pain from spacewalks. His body still felt lighter than it should. He floated toward the return capsule. This small vehicle would take him home. From the outside, it looked strong. From the inside, it felt tight, very tight. He strapped himself into the seat, belts locked, systems turned on, screens lit up. Mission Control counted each step. Capsule power on, navigation ready, life support stable. The astronaut listened carefully. One mistake here could be fatal. Re-entry into Earth's atmosphere creates extreme heat, extreme force. There is no second try. The hatch between the capsule and the station closed. The sound was final. Once closed, there was no turning back. The station slowly moved away. The astronaut watched it through a small window. That metal home had protected him from space. Now it was leaving. He was alone again. Mission Control spoke calmly: prepare for deorbit burn. Capsule fired its engines, just a short push, but enough to change everything. Earth began to pull him back. At first, nothing felt different. Then slowly his body became heavy, very heavy. Gravity returned like a giant hand pressing down on his chest. His breathing changed. Each breath felt harder. His arms felt stuck. His legs felt like they weighed 100 kilos. Training helped him stay calm. "This is normal," Mission Control said. "Focus on breathing." The capsule started to shake, small at first, then stronger. Heat built up outside. Flames wrapped around the capsule. From the inside, the astronaut could not see them. He could only feel the shaking. The noise grew louder, his vision blurred, gravity increased more. 3 times Earth gravity, then 4, then more. His body screamed, but his voice stayed quiet. "I am okay," he said, but his heart was working hard. Blood pushed downward. His brain fought to stay awake. This was the real test, not space, not silence, but gravity. The shaking slowly reduced, the pressure eased, then suddenly silence. The parachutes opened, the capsule slowed fast. The astronaut felt one final hard pull, then calm. The capsule dropped into the ocean. Water hit the sides. The mission was over. Inside, the astronaut stayed still. His body needed time. Even lifting a hand felt difficult now. Rescue teams reached the capsule. The hatch opened. Fresh air rushed in. Hands helped him out. Sunlight touched his face. Earth felt strange, heavy, solid, real. He tried to stand. He could not. That was expected. They supported him gently. The astronaut looked up at the sky. The station was gone from view. Space was invisible now, but he knew it was still there, waiting. He had survived silence. He had survived storms. He had survived himself. And one final part of the story still remained: what this mission meant for the future. The astronaut was back on Earth. The mission was over, but the meaning of the mission was just beginning. He sat quietly during recovery. Doctors checked his body. Muscles were weak. Balance was slow. His heart was learning gravity again. Every small movement felt strange. But his mind was clear, very clear. On screens around the world, people watched his return. News showed images of the spacewalk. The station, Earth from above. Children looked up. Adults stopped for a moment. Many people asked the same question: why risk a human life? Machines can go to space. Robots do not breathe. Robots do not feel pain. So why send humans? At NASA, engineers and scientists talked about data, repairs, and systems. But behind every number was a human decision. The astronaut remembered floating above Earth. No borders. No lines, just one planet. From space, Earth looks small, fragile, shared. That view changes people forever. Robots can collect data. Robots can take pictures, but robots cannot feel responsibility. During the mission, many problems appeared. Not all were planned. Some could not be predicted. Machines followed rules. Humans adapted. When tools slipped, the astronaut adjusted. When systems failed, he stayed calm. When fear came, he controlled it. That is the difference. Humans think. Humans choose. Humans protect. The station still orbits Earth, still flying fast, still needing care. Every spacewalk keeps it alive, every repair keeps science going. Experiments on the station help people on Earth. Medicine, technology, climate research, communication. Space is not far away. Space affects Earth every day. The astronaut understood something important. Spacewalks are not just about fixing metal. They are about protecting knowledge, protecting the future. Tomorrow's missions will go farther, back to the moon, then to Mars. Those missions will be longer, harder, more dangerous. Robots will go first, but humans will follow because some decisions cannot be programmed, some risks must be judged by a human mind. Some moments need human courage. The astronaut looked at his hands. They were weak now, still healing. But those hands had touched space. They had held the station above Earth. They had protected millions of lives below, not by force, but by patience, training, control. He smiled quietly, not because he was a hero, but because he was part of something bigger. Humanity has always looked up, at stars, at the unknown. Space is dangerous. Space is silent. Space does not forgive mistakes, and yet humans still go, not to escape Earth, but to understand it, not to prove strength, but to protect life. Mission ended with no explosions. No dramatic victory, just a quiet return, and that is the truth of space exploration. Most victories are silent, most courage is calm, most heroes speak softly. Above Earth, the station continues its journey. Below, humans continue to dream, and somewhere between the two, a spacewalk reminds us how small we are, how brave we can be, and why the future still belongs to those who dare to step outside, was still unknown.